This video meant to be about my locking mechanism for the saddle, but I came to make a hole through this rod and I realized I have another issue here, and it's my tailstock. While I was trying to drill the center of the bar, I realized the tailstock is so higher than the center. So if you notice, as I push my tailstock back and forth, if you pay attention while I'm moving forward my tailstock, you're gonna notice slightly bent, and even I don't have to, I can show it right away from here, and as you can see is about 1 millimeter above the center, and it was at the center before, but while I was drilling to the center I realized my drill bit just swinging, and I take it apart and I realized there is uneven surface, so I make it flat. Now my tailstock is quite flat, and that's why my drill bit is slightly above the point. Well, now the other issue again is the base of the tailstock. The same issue that I have with my saddle or cross slide, it was here again, and this end again higher than the other. So what I'm trying to do now, yesterday it was a slightly even higher than that. Well, yesterday I was file it down, I even use sandpaper, but still so much to it's like 0.5 millimeters above. So what I'm trying to do, just place the base on my drill stand and slightly cut with my milling bit, cut some material from this right angle, and also take slightly from the top surfaces to lower the tailstock. My vice, basically my clamp, wasn't in a good condition, so made the this right angle, this depth so uneven and slightly bigger. So what I've done, I passed the part to one of my friend. His name is Ali, and what he did for me, he welded, he filled those area that I cut with the milling, that I milled, and I fill up the rest with some resin. I sand it. I place it on a bed and just continue the same process like this. Just do back and forth, and now I have it in the same level. I mean, I have it at the right size, so it doesn't play at all. And something you have to consider about your tailstock is the tail. If you have a wiggle, if you put a slightly a tiny drill bit, let's say 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters drill bit in your chuck, in your basically tailstock, and you try to drill in the center of a part. If you have a wiggle, it means your drill bit just keep moving around like this. It means your tailstock is not in right spot. So there is few things you need to do. First of all, you use this type of tools to make sure the face of your tailstock base is basically, you have a right angle and is level. You have a right angle to the bed from side of the bed, and as you can see, there is no gap. And the other thing in my case, I filed these sides also to make sure I have a parallel face, so when the tailstock sits on its base, so I know it's perpendicular to the chuck, to the face of the spindle or chuck. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if your part is slightly like this. There is some side is basically is higher than the other. It's as long as it's your tailstock has a right high, so your drill bits or whatever is at the center of the spindle, so that you're gonna be good, because it's not like a cross slide that something moves along the base. So the tailstock is always stationary, and one of the reasons that my mill, while I was milling the part and I screwed up, was because this base, basically the base of tailstock, it wasn't flat. It wasn't, both sides was there a slightly angle into it. So when I clamp it, my part was basically, it wasn't flat exactly, it wasn't level. So while I was milling through the part, so one side was cut it more than the other. So if you notice, I welded this area, but I didn't do it for this part. So the milling bits cut this area slightly more. So as I mentioned, I could fill this up with some glue or resin, but I didn't want to do this messy job. So I would rather to do like a blazing or weld it and again redo it again to make sure I have a proper part. So if I place it on a bed, now I know I have a right high, and the face has a right angle to the side of the bed. So and the other thing you have to do, you might need to check, is your tailstock. Your tailstock bottom part is, as you can see, are filed. This edges, one edge was slightly higher than the other, so in most of the Chinese casting parts they don't bother to finish the part. It seems to me they take it off straight away out of the cast, and what they do, they just filler it and paint it. That's it. This end was higher, so when I leveled the base, I realized my tailstock is basically slightly higher than it came high. So let me show it this way. It used to be at the center, but actually it wasn't. It was like this, and that's why I had a wiggle in my drill bit. And the other thing, again, this face it wasn't even, so it wasn't level, so this caused basically a slightly, again, angle from the sides. So this is something you need to consider about. And if I now bring my caliper and if I do it like this, for this end I have 107.2, or let's go 107.3, and if I go at the front and repeat the same thing, you're gonna see I have 107.3 again. So now I know is quite level at the top and bottom. So all I need to know is just tidy it up. The other thing I did to my tailstock was, there used to be one Allen bolt here, and what it does, it used to act like a pivot point. So, and based on these two bolts, I could basically, let me put some angle to my tailstock. So let's say if it's tailstock, it could be like this or like this. Now I know everything is right and square, and I check them. So I removed that extra bolt, so I know my drill bit is already perpendicular to the face of the chuck. So that's no need for this screw here. You make sure you have a straight tailstock. So when you do drilling, when you're trying to center parts, so this is something important. So you don't want your tailstock to be like this or up or down, because as your drill bit goes through the part basically you're gonna drill unevenly, or you might even break your drill bit inside the part. So this is something I recommend to check before doing any drilling. Now I know everything is right and square, so my tailstock at the right height, my drill bits, everything is right at the center. So I continue my drilling operation. So, and you're gonna see there wouldn't be any wiggle on the drill bits.